Many of us have had work wives. It didn't start out that way. You might have never even wanted them. But guess what? Them long nights in the office, her holding you down, y'all get closer, and sooner or later, her cookies get crushed. I do not plan to cheat when I get married. I respect the institution too much. I know that one woman cannot help me hold down the movement I'm building.
You're gonna have shifts.
No. I'm not even gonna play this game of hiring a secretary who gonna do all this work and sooner or later ain't gonna reap the benefits of being the secretary. I'm coming in honest and realistic.
Political.
Wife one, wife two, because my wives won't just be wives. They're gonna be workmates. We're working, we're building.
Honor, privilege, and a pleasure. Once again, a safe space and a brave place. It's not about canceling one another. It's about counseling one another. And boy, this is session 3. And have I been getting some counseling from the great King Kong of consciousness, Dr. Umar Johnson. He done told me that I'm supposed to, that I desire my ex-wife.
Yes, you do.
That I want her back,
Yes,
which
you
I know
do.
has caused the storm. I apologize to everybody who is involved in my personal life. That I know so much is being said. But one thing I will never deny is that I passionately love each and every one of the mothers of my children, from the first to the last. One, for giving me such the beautiful gift of a legacy of offspring, but I feel like I have real, true love and connection with all of them. I don't believe I made every single one of my children out of love. Not one of them were an accident. That I was fully enthralled, engaged, and in love with every single person that I made a child with, and in all deliberate in that sense, to where now there's a difference between family planning in a nuclear traditional setting, or someone that we just talked about. Like, I believe this person could be an amazing mother, and I would love to take it to the next level and have that. So you shared quite a bit about my personal infrastructure, and we've learned a little bit about Dr. Umar. One, that you are a father of 2.
Yes.
One which is fully grown, an adult.
22.
And that you currently are not in a traditional relationship. You consider yourself single or looking, because you ultimately will be married, but not married to one woman. You are probably looking to be married to 2 women.
Yes.
So as you've said that, I probably am operating in dysfunction in certain spaces, which I can accept. I have no problem doing that. I've been called an emotional vampire. I've been called a narcissist. I've been called a lot of things.
Spiritual vampire.
Spiritual vampire. My bad. But Dr. Umar Johnson, I gotta get my lick back, man.
Yes,
Come
sir.
on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We cut from the same cloth.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You ain't too different from me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I've been there. And when I go back into my romantic history, when I look at the mothers of my 2 children.
Same mom, different?
Different mom. One daughter here, one daughter here. I could have married either one, but it would not have been because I thought I should have. It would have been because they were the mothers of my children. My daughter's mothers felt they should have become my wife purely due to pregnancy. And I told them I would not make a decision, a lifelong decision, about who I'm going to spend the rest of my life with purely based on pregnancy. I said, we can continue to explore, to date. I would like to move in with you. We have to learn more about each other before we decide to spend the rest of our lives together. And they arrogantly said, it ain't going to work that way. I need to be your wife, and I need to be your wife now. Had they been a little bit more patient and humble with me, either one, they would have became my wife. I don't know if they know that. They know it now because they're going to see this. Right. If they would have just been a little bit more respectful of where I was coming from, they would have got married. I would have married either one because they were the mothers of my daughter.
Now,
Uh,
the same way you throw things at
mhm.
me in the sense
Yes, sir.
of narcissistic tendencies,
Uh-huh.
and even a statement like, because a lot would take the statement that you just made as, okay, that's coming from someone who is rooted in narcissistic tendencies, toxic masculinity, of you making the choice and all of these things. And now, even at this point, looking not just for one wife, but possibly two wives to fulfill
My
you.
desire for two wives, though, is not based on personal need. It's based on political need. Let
Please
me
explain.
explain. Let me
Yeah.
explain. Let's go to a pastor at a church, right?
Oh, okay.
You have
First
a mega
lady.
church.
Right.
You have a mega church. You have your wife. And
First
then you
lady.
have your secretary.
Okay.
Stay with me.
All right.
That secretary is doing so much for that church to keep you afloat.
Mm-hmm.
Sooner or later, she's going to expect a personal relationship. It's human nature. This is why pastors almost end up sleeping with their secretaries. This is why CEOs end up sleeping with their executive assistants, because they are your what? Work wives, right?
Mm,
Many of us have had work wives. It
mm.
didn't start out that way. You might have never even wanted them. But guess what? Them long nights in the office, her holding you down, y'all get closer. And sooner or later, her cookies get crushed. So I do not plan to cheat when I get married. I respect the institution too much.
Okay.
I know that one woman cannot help me hold down the movement I'm
So
building.
you're gonna have shifts.
No, 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 no. So I'm not even going to play this game of hiring a secretary who's going to do all this work
Right.
and sooner or later ain't going to reap the benefits of being the secretary.
Okay.
I'm coming in honest and realistic.
Okay. And
Wife
political.
one, wife two, because my wives won't just be wives. They're going to be workmates. We're working, we're building. So this ain't just let's just go to the honeymoon and let's go to the vacation. No, we got to serve the people.
Well, why not 3 or 4?
Because I will not be able to be emotionally available to 3 or 4 the way that they deserve. And so I'm not going to put those women
So
in
how
that
can you say that
situation
with 2? The same way with 2.
because 2 ain't difficult at all. And since there's very few heterosexual males who don't have at least 2 queens, I mean, that's just the reality of the world we live in.
Dr.
I'm
Umar
being
said it, not me.
honest. I'm being honest. Some men, they can do one wife. Very few alpha males have one woman.
Mm.
I'm not sure if I ever met a man who had just one woman, right? But I'm not going beyond 2. 2 is enough. I need to stay focused and they need to hold me down. I'm good with 2 queens. I don't need more than
So
that.
all of that stuff that you just taught me in
Uh-huh.
these past 2 sessions about me not being emotionally available and how you
No, I
literally
will be emotionally available to my wives. I will be. Absolutely.
to both of them.
Both of them.
So why can't I be emotionally
You
available to
got 30. You got he compared a dozen. I would have 2.
So because like we've been talking about our
Mhm.
individual lives,
Yes, sir.
but let's take it, to the black man in general,
Yes, sir.
and um his place in
Mhm.
society, because this is even where a lot of the issues that I feel and have grown and struggled with um is who am I in society, specifically when it comes to the black woman. I mean, I sit across uh on this couch from many different black women psychologists,
Mhm.
therapists, who speak of what we should be
Yes.
to the black woman.
Mhm.
Um, and I know I fall short, oftentimes. I've sat here and apologized to multiple times to the black woman, based off of knowing, and even like you said, whether I have abandonment issues, whether I run, whether it's an empty space in me, that I've said I'm the low functioning one. I'm not enough,
Mhm.
whether it's
Mhm.
my own traumas,
Mhm.
um, whether it's the makeup in, my upbringing, whatever it is. I know that I have yet in society's
Mhm.
measurement, measured up to being the black man that I should be for our queens.
Okay.
Um, how can or what would be your advice to this generation's black man that is trying to get it right, is wanting to do, but is faced with all of the obstacles, the demons, the traumas of these ideas that we've been taught that, you know, being a player is cool, having
Mm-hmm.
30 women is cool,
Mm-hmm.
the king complexes that
Mm-hmm.
we assimilate to say, well, long as I'm making enough money and I got all these women desiring me, why shouldn't I have
Mm-hmm.
them all? Because these are the things that, you know, are passed down uh within our culture.
I think for number one, black men, we as black men have not fully appreciated what a black woman is. I don't think we fully appreciated it. I think we have reduced our sisters down to the level of sexual objectification. I don't think we honor the wit or the wisdom or the wherewithal of black women. I don't think we see them in their divine genius. And I think that because we have sexually objectified them so much, we have lost out on the types of support that she could give to us. I don't believe we're even scratching the surface of what a true committed relationship between a black king and a black queen, what that can do for us and what that could do for our community.
Mm.
So I think black men need to reinvent our appreciation for black women. I think we need to understand, overstand, and understand how our relationships with our mother and the examples that our mothers set forth for us, even if we have good relations with them now, we still need to see how the example of our mom and the intimacy or lack thereof between her and our father affects our willingness to engage in and commit to a relationship with black women. I would also say I think that black men need to appreciate how much better our life could be if we would give genuine love and opportunity. The reason I can understand your situation so well, brother Nick, is I used to be there.
Mm.
I used to be there. But I did the work and I'm at a place now in my life where it's like I'm ready to give this a shot. You know what I mean? I'm ready to give this a shot. Um, but I don't think I get there if I didn't reinvent my appreciation for the black woman. Over these last 10 years, I have grown to see her. And I don't think I still see her in her complete divine fullness, but I see her a lot better now than I did in my 20s and 30s
Why is that?
because I made a promise to myself that for all black women have done for us as a race, and for what all black women have done for me as an individual, I owed it to myself and to her, to our community, to our ancestors, and to the Almighty to do my best to not shortchange who she really is in my eyes. And I think practicing Ifa, the Yoruba spiritual system of Nigeria, where respect for the divine principle is at a premium, that really forced me to reevaluate the way that I see black women. And I think once upon a time, and a lot of us have been through that because we live in this sexually objectified system, I'm not sure if I saw my sisters as much more than a piece of meat,
Mm.
right? But that ain't been the case for the last 10 years for sure, and maybe not the last 15. You know, I have really, since practicing Ifa, that started for me in 2011, 14 years ago, I have my appreciation for the black woman has just grown exponentially.
So,
And that's why I know I could never see myself with anything else but a black woman.
so what's taking so long for Dr. Umar to find his
I don't think
queen?
it's going to be much longer.
Really?
And I'm going to tell you why. 2017, I had a divination done in Brooklyn by Babalawo from Nigeria. Babalawo is priest. And he told me, because marriage is something I've been asking about regularly, and he told me that you're going to get married, but the school got to come first.
Mm.
He said, if you get her now, you'll chase her away because you're too busy with all your different missions and tasks and agenda items. But the school almost done. You feel me?
Right.
We just got to lay some floor and paint one more coat. School done. So the time is now.
Right.
And I believe whoever those two women are going to be, and I'm going to tell you how I know it's going to be two. I had a dream. And in this dream that I had, it's the only dream I ever had where I saw the shrine of Eshu Elegbara. In Yoruba culture, Eshu is the spirit that God gave command to open up all paths and travel ways. So you don't communicate with any other spirit unless you go through Eshu. Well, the Eshu shrine appeared in my dream, and it was draped with an Orumila Aleke. Orumila means messenger of heaven. This is the spirit that God created and allowed to witness all creation. So Orumila knows the end of all things. And so the Eshu shrine draped with the Orumila Aleke appeared in my dream a couple years ago. And guess what was happening in that dream? I was in a beautiful house with two beautiful women, and that appeared. And the message was clear to me that building your family with two women is going to be the foundation to your elevation. In other words, Dr. Umar does not complete his mission on earth in this incarnation without a family.
So what is Dr. Umar's ultimate mission on earth?
Honestly, I don't know what the Lord has in store for me, Nick, but I'll tell you this. I don't think it's just the schools. The schools are a big part of it. You follow me? That's a big part of it. But I don't think it's just the schools. I think the Lord has another task for me that will only unfold in time. And part of the reason I believe that, Brother Nick, is I'm way too popular to not be a celebrity.
Right.
I'm way too loved by African people from every age, every sector, every culture for this to just be it.
Right.
Do you follow me?
Yeah, facts.
It can't just be the interviews. It can't just be the lecture. It can't just be the school. There's no way God put me in this position, most of it by accident, just for me to be popular.
Right.
I'm too serious about Black liberation to be in this position and this be the end. There's something greater coming.
Right.
And to that point, Brother Nick, we have 3 eclipses coming up. There's an eclipse on September 17th.
Right.
There's an eclipse on November the 2nd. There's an eclipse on There's an eclipse on September 17th. There's an eclipse on October 2nd. And there's an eclipse on October the 17th. This is the first time in a long time we had 3 eclipses 2 weeks apart.
Right.
Harriet Tubman escaped from slavery on September 18th, September 17th. Your next eclipse is on that date.
Right.
Nat Turner was born on October the 2nd. The next eclipse is on that date.
Right.
Dangerfield Newby, the first Black man to die for John Brown in the Harper's Ferry raid, he died October the 17th, your 3rd eclipse. You're not going to tell me that's a coincidence that the next 3 eclipses are on serious, revolutionary, enslaved African dates. And then 2 days after that eclipse, Pluto goes into Aquarius, where it hasn't been in 226 years. Pluto is the planet of destroy and rebuild. Aquarius is the sign of revolution and transformations, right? The last time Pluto was in Aquarius 200 years ago, the French Revolution was going on, the American Revolution was going on, and the Haitian Revolution was going on.
Right.
So my point is, we're about to go through a portal of some very serious revolutionary times. This Pluto in Aquarius, the next 200 years, there will be revolution on earth.
You clearly have an elevated spiritual enlightenment that the average
Gotta
individual.
follow the stars.
Really? Is
The
that where?
stars
That's what I'm
are
gonna
the
say. Where is it
roadmap
all
for
rooted
earth.
in?
Ifa,
Really?
cosmology, African spirituality. You have to always pay attention to the stars. I take new moon serious. I take full moon serious. I take eclipses extra serious. And I pay general attention to the movement of the planets, because even in the Bible, it talks about what happens down here is always foreseen up there in the heavens. Remember our Kemetic ancestors? The entire ancient Kemet was laid out as a representation of the solar system. That is a language and it is a roadmap, and we need to pay attention to it. And I don't think it's a coincidence that this next presidential election is taking place at the same time of these eclipses in this Pluto transit. It's going to be revolution. The
So
message to African people, Brother Nick, is if we get together and do our job to fight for our liberation, the universe will help us. The problem with us is we want the universe to do all the work. The universe ain't going to do the work. If that was the case, God would have never sent you to earth. You understand? The work is for us to do, but the universe will support it. What I'm saying, if black people don't wake up soon, we may not be in another position to really help fix our situation for another 2 centuries.
wow, that's
These
powerful.
times only come once in a while, and you got to seize them.
So what about the, obviously because we have a very strong, either Christian community or even Muslim community when it comes to black people. Some of your ideologies can be looked at as I don't say I'll use the correct word, but it's for those traditions, those are obscure and even sometimes even looked at as can be demonic or superstitious, or when you start talking about the stars and you start talking about different levels of spirituality and realms, and that it to what we've been taught specifically in a lot of our religious teachings of Abrahamic faiths. It doesn't go to it doesn't coincide with African consciousness.
True. And that's okay, as long as we can be tolerant of each other's spiritual paths. I believe there's only one religion, worship of the supreme divinity, supreme deity, supreme consciousness. There's only one religion, but there's different roads to it.
Right.
You might take the Christian path.
Right.
He might take the Jehovah's Witness path. He might take the Nation of Islam path. He might take the Hebrew Israelite path. He might take the AME. I take Ifa. Somebody take Voodoo, Lukumi, Palo, Santeria, Palo, however you, right? Different roads, one destination.
Right.
I can't tell Nick that you're supposed to be an Ifa devotee like me, because I don't know what your destiny is. And maybe for your destiny, you need to follow Voodoo. Maybe for your destiny, you need to be a born-again Christian. Maybe for your destiny, you need to be a Jehovah's Witness. I can't tell you that. You got to figure that out, because it's not a question of what religion is right. It's a question of what religion is right for you at this time during this incarnation for your specific destiny. That's why when I come across black people say, Dr. Umar, we got to get out, we got to get our people out the church. Time out, brother. I know there's lies in Christianity. There's lies in Islam. There's lies in almost every faith. But I'm not going to rush to tell our people to leave the church, because there's something in the church they may need to learn or experience that will help them fulfill this destiny. It's not all about always being in what is historically sound or scientifically accurate. Sometimes you need to walk down the wrong road, because in walking down the wrong road, there's an experience there that might fortify you for your next step. Let me give you an example. My father was psychologically and emotionally abusive to me as a child. It's part of the reason I became a psychologist, right? That was trauma. But guess what, Nick? If I don't go through that trauma at the hands of my father, these thousands of black boys I've saved, these people I've stopped from killing themselves, all these black children I kept out of jail, all these black parents I helped save their kids from special ed, if I don't go through that trauma with my father, I would have never been the benefit that I have become to my community. I'm not saying trauma is good. I'm saying that the experience of trauma can sometimes prepare you for your life's work. Do you follow what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
There's things you went through, Nick Cannon, that if you didn't go through them, you may not be where you are. Sometimes setbacks are set-ups for comebacks. Spiritually, that is true, as well as in everyday life. So in EFI, we have a saying: I embrace the positive dimensions and the negative dimensions of life towards the fulfillment of my destiny. I appreciate the things that go wrong in my life, and I appreciate the things that go good in my life, because good and bad, they're not opposites. They are complementarities. They work together to birth the things that you need to do in this life. Imagine a woman giving a baby. She's on the birthing bed, right? Doesn't the doctor tell her to push? And then he tells her to pull back. Push, contract, push, contract, positive, negative, positive, negative. If she don't push sometimes, and if she don't let go sometimes, that baby never coming out. Your heart, how do you live? It pumps and then it pulls back. It pumps positive, it pulls back negative. You see that? Without that refractory period, you don't get that constant back. Back and forth is how everything goes. The birth of a child, heartbeat, and your life. There will be things that go good, there will be things that go bad, but you have to trust in the universe that ultimately the good and the bad will produce the destiny that you were assigned in heaven to come here to fulfill.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Such a powerful session, full of wisdom, full of counsel. Again, like, subscribe. I know the comments is going to be heavy, but we got to continue to do this.
Yes, sir.
The powerful Dr. Umar Johnson. We appreciate you.
Thank you, bro.